So here's the problem. There are so many syndicators out there. How do you stand out from everyone else so that you can raise more money? Why should a passive investor invest with you and not someone else? The solution is you gotta stand out, right? But the question is, how do you do it? At Dealmaker Live a few weeks ago, Dan Hanford made this point by doing something that you will never ever forget Dan Hanford again. Check this out. This is what he did at Dealmaker Live. All right, was that pretty cool, right? You'll never forget Dan Hanford again, and that was his point. As a syndicator, you gotta stand out from the crowd. Now, the question is, how in the world do you do this? So I'm gonna give you 3 tips on how you can stand out from the crowd. Number 1 is you gotta develop your brand. Now, okay, don't get overwhelmed by developing your brand. I'm going to take you step by step through this stuff. It's just a series of questions that you have to answer for yourself, and it does require a certain degree of self-awareness. So developing self-awareness through this process is super, super important. I suggest that perhaps you take a day off or maybe even a weekend off and really think about these things. Getting your brand down is super, super important because once you go out in public, that's who you're going to go out with. And it's very important that you are who you are. You have to be authentic. Don't copy someone else. Figure out who you are. So here are the steps. Number 1, what is your story? Because you're going to talk about your story all the time. Now the thing is, everyone's got a story, and your story is uniquely you. There's no one else in the world that's just like you, and that is an asset for you. Again, you don't want to copy anyone else who's successful or who's 10 steps ahead of you or 20 or 100. It doesn't matter. You want to be you. What is your story, right? So in my case, my story was I was working full-time like most other people. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it changed my life, right? So my story specifically is that I started to pursue financial freedom, but I wasn't as smart as some of you guys were, and I didn't use real estate. I tried all kinds of different things to pursue financial. I did restaurants, software startups, trading stocks and options, flipping houses, wholesaling, all this stuff that I've done. So I've kind of become the crash test dummy of financial freedom, and I figured out a lot of things not to do. And finally, I figured it out with apartment buildings and decided that I was going to teach others how to become financially free. So that's kind of my story, and it's unique to me. The second question is, what is different about you? Like, what's your magic sauce, your secret sauce? Like, what's different about you? My focus is that I am specifically focused on financial freedom. And so that ultimately financial freedom empowers us to live a life of significance. So things about me are words like financial freedom and significance. That's different about me. Now, what's different about you? The third question is, who do you want to attract? And in parentheses, who do you want to repel? For example, I want to attract, and I will attract people who want financial freedom, but I will repel people who want to be rich. There are others who will attract people who want to be rich. For example, Grant Cardone. It's always he's by his plane, he's by his Rolls Royce. He's attracting people who want to be rich. I attract a different crowd. That's what's different about me. So who are you going to attract? What is part of your story that you're going to attract? For example, maybe you're a doctor. Okay, you might attract other doctors. Or you're an attorney, you attract other attorneys. Maybe you're a high-tech professional. You might attract high professionals. You might be a working mom. Well, then maybe you attract female investors. What is it about your story? Who are you going to attract? And then the next question is, now that you know who you're attracting, how are you going to serve them? Okay, how are you going to serve them? Who are you going to serve, and how are you going to serve them? So I'm going to attract anyone who is thinking about financial freedom with real estate. That's who I want to serve. And specifically, I'm serving people who want to be active investors and passive investors. It used to be only active investors, but I've expanded my scope to include also passive investors, because passive investors want the same thing that active investors want. They want financial freedom. They're just going to do it in a different way. So how am I going to serve these two groups of people? How are you going to serve your audience? Well, for the active investors, I'm going to put out the highest quality free content and paid programs that inspire to take action and actually work and provide a blueprint for becoming financially free in the next 1 to 2 years. For the passive investors, and I do this with Nighthawk Equity, our investment company, I want to offer a consistent flow of high quality deals that generate passive income and long-term wealth again, with the goal of helping people become financially free. Then the next question is, okay, now that you know who you want to serve, who you're going to attract, how you're going to do it, what is your mission? Okay, what's your mission? And so my mission, for example, is to help people become financially free with real estate in order to empower them to live a life of significance. That's just my mission. Your mission could be most likely different. What is your mission? And then you kind of put it all together. And when you put it all together, you get a lot of clarity coming from that. So I might put it together like this. My mission is to help people become financially free with real estate. For active investors, I'm calling them out. I want to provide high quality content and programs that inspire and provide a blueprint to quitting their jobs in 1 to 2, 3 years. For the passive investors, I want to provide a consistent flow of high-quality deals that provide passive income and long-term wealth. We do all this, why? To empower people to live a life of significance. So that could be a brand statement. Now, it's very, very important that you take the time to develop who you are, what is inside you, what's your story, what are your passions, who are you going to serve, and how are you going to serve them. That is ultra important, and I did not get this right in the beginning at all. When I was pursuing my things of financial freedom, it was all about me. It was me. And I didn't really think about anything about who I was and what my greater purpose was. So it's really important that you take the time for this stuff. Now, once you've done this, step 2 is to bang the drums. You know, like you saw in the video. I love that. You got to bang the drums, okay? Now you know who you are and you are authentically you. Now you got to get the word out, okay? And this is where I want you guys thinking about building a platform, okay? Building a platform where you become more visible. So in other words, you have this brand, but really it's a personal brand. People want to invest with you because they know, like, and trust you, okay? So the knowing part, obviously is very important that you know yourself, but that's really the story and the brand that you developed. But in order to know people, you have to get your word out there. So you have to think about things like a website. Now you got to get your story and your mission out on a website. That's obviously a very, very obvious thing to do. You can get in other people's podcasts to tell your story. Think about building an email list. Okay, it's all about building an email list and attracting people, repelling others, but attracting people. So maybe you can offer some kind of free ebook or a special report that is really high value to your audience. Maybe you can put out videos. So really, how can you continue serving your audience? In so doing, you attract more people to you and your story and your brand. Once you do that, you're talking about step 3. So step 2 is you're banging the drums, you're attracting people to you, you're providing and you're serving value to them. And then number 3 is you want to, in the case of attracting more money, you want to keep your investors engaged. And again, you do that in a variety of ways. You want to continue serving them, but maybe that has shifted a little bit because now they want to know about deals, specifically about deals. What can you do to consistently provide them with deal flow? So either your own deals or deals from someone else. So what can you do to align yourself with 1 or 2 really high quality operators so that your investors have something to invest in? Consider also things like stay in touch with emails, phone calls, webinars, property tours. So once you've attracted them to you, you need to engage them. Okay, there's this book by Gary Vaynerchuk called Jab, 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 Right Hook. So it's the idea that step 2 is jab, 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 you're providing value, and then the right hook every once in a while, you ask them to do something. In this case, you're asking to invest with you. And investors, once they know, like, and trust you, they need to be engaged. And so that's really, really important in step 3 that you keep your investors engaged. All right, so that's the kind of 3 tips for standing out to the crowd, build your brand, bang your drums, and keep your investors engaged. If you're an active investor, check out my free ebook. It's called The Secret to Raising Money to Buy Your First Apartment Building Deal. It's super popular. It's at themichaelblank.com/ebook. If you're a passive investor and you're still on the fence about investing in multifamily, I have a special report for you that examines the stock market versus real estate investing. It's called What's the Better Investment? Stock Market or Real Estate Investment? And that's at themichaelblank.com/report. If you're already interested or sold on the idea of investing in multifamily, then I invite you to join our investor club. Our investment firm is called nighthawkequity.com, and you can join the club by going to nighthawkequity.com and just clicking on the join button. fill out a short questionnaire. We'll have a conversation. You'll speak with our director of investor relations. We'll get to know each other, and then we can present you with a future deal if that's right for you. So anyway, there you go. There you have it. And hopefully that was useful for you. Catch you guys next time. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Now, as the next step, download this ebook right here, okay? When you've downloaded that, make sure you also subscribe to my YouTube channel, because then you can get all of the videos that I release as soon as I release. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel right now. Click on that right now. And then also make sure that this is the next best video to watch, is this one right here. So hope you enjoyed that. I'll catch you next time.